Hi, everybody, and welcome to SisStar Cipher, where sisterhood, wisdom, and real conversations connect. Thank you for joining us for another meaningful connection. As you can see, I got my co host back, Epiphany. She's back, y'all. And today, as we explore topics that impact our lives, our families, and our communities, before we begin, let's start with a fun icebreaker. I don't know how fun this is, but it's gonna be fun. The icebreaker question is, if you were, hold on, because I thought I had it. If you were an animal, if your current mental state was an animal, what would it be and why? I'm gonna go ahead and answer that first, Tiffany.
Okay.
Epiphany. All right. So I would be a squirrel, trying to keep up with everything life is throwing at me, and also trying to get a nut. You know, I'm just a squirrel out here trying to get a nut, y'all. That's my current mental state. Just trying to keep everything and life throwing at me, and I'm wide eyed and bushy tailed, and I'm moving and stuff like that. So I say I'm a squirrel. How about it? How about you, Epiphany? If you would be one, if your current mental state was an animal, what would it be and why?
It would be a rabbit. And I say a rabbit because rabbits tend to like just go off. If you let them go, they're going to wander. They're going to wander. They want to be loved, but they also want to wander. So, right now my mental state is, I'm kind of all over the place, but I do want to be loved. I need love. I need nurturing at the same time.
Oh, and they so cute too. And they be just they
Right.
gone. You be going too.
Yeah.
You definitely
Yeah.
be going.
Yeah, when I was a little girl, I probably was like 4. My grandmother had bought me a rabbit. I had randomly asked for a rabbit, and she bought me a rabbit. So I know it just be doing whatever it want to do once you let it loose.
Uh, that's so cute. Rabbit and a squirrel. So I want to say welcome everyone and thank you for joining us again. Of course, I'm Sparkle, and I'm joined today with Epiphany, like I mentioned. But this time we're going to have an important conversation, surrounding mental health, healing, resilience, and hope. As many of you may know, June is PTSD Awareness Month. PTSD stands for Post Traumatic Stress Disorder. It is a condition that can develop after someone experiences or witnesses a traumatic event. While many people associate PTSD with military veterans, trauma can affect anyone. Trauma can result from abuse, violence, grief, accidents, discrimination, childhood experiences, medical crises, natural disasters, or any event that overwhelms a person's ability to cope. PTSD can show up in many ways, including anxiety, depression, emotional numbness, difficulty trusting others, intrusive memories, hypervigilance, sleep disturbances, and feelings of isolation. Yet many people live with these symptoms without ever realizing that trauma may be at the roots. Today, our goal is not to diagnose or label anyone. Our goal is to create a safe space for honest conversation, education, understanding, and healing. We want to help break the stigma surrounding mental health and remind people that seeking support is a sign of strength, not weakness. Before we begin, we already did that. So we talked about our animals. So let's just get there and start our conversation. Welcome to SisStar Cipher. Let's talk, let's heal, let's grow together. And thank you all for watching. For the people who's watching from Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. If you're watching from YouTube, please like and subscribe, share. All right. So how you feeling today, Epiphany?
I'm feeling pretty good. How are you?
I'm feeling good too. When when I brought some topics to you, and you picked this one, and I'm happy you picked this one because I just read that 1 in 7 people are affected by mental health. That's a lot. Because I've
That
been
is
in
a
a
lot.
room with 10 people. So that means one of us,
So
have mental health. I know I'm that one. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But
sometimes I'm that one too.
yes. But mental health doesn't always look like, how somebody walking down the street talking to themselves out loud, digging in the garbage, all those things that'd be like, or people that have on like trench coats and it's 90 degrees outside and winter hats. Mental health doesn't always look like that. It's something that affects us every day, whether we're navigating through stress or whatever have you. Because to be quite honest with you, um, after COVID or during COVID, I felt like that left some trauma or some stress because I remember just being around certain people. It was an argument to wear a mask and not wear a mask, to vaccinate, to not vaccinate. Like people actually lost friends, family, and then talk to people. And we actually lost people. Family, friends, loved ones actually passed away. Some people actually passed away from COVID. And now we just going on like, that was a very stressful situation. Just for an example, like how as a whole, as a nation, as a world, we were all affected by it. But we don't acknowledge it a lot of the times. What do you think about that, Epiphany?
I think that we don't acknowledge it a lot of times. I don't know. People are just in a different space altogether. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
it's hard to even describe, what I have in mind. But
Yeah, because like I was saying, it doesn't always look like, sometimes you could visually see mental health, but sometimes
right,
you can't see it.
right, and and,
Um,
and we know firsthand, what it looks like just working in those environments with people who have, mental health issues and seeing them with, like you said, the winter coats and 80 degrees, weather, or talking to themselves and
mhm.
yeah, so we know exactly what it looks like in that form, but if it's somebody who, has it going on internally and you can't really see it, it's really different.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Whew. So I just want to, send a little prayer out for everyone who might be suffering in silence. And later on, Epiphany and I are going to be sharing some information on how you can get some help. So the first question that I want us, or talking point that I have for us is mental health affects everyone, but many of us still avoid talking about it. Why do you think mental health still remains such a difficult conversation?
Because a lot of times people don't want to be labeled. You don't want that label. And a lot of times, I don't know about other communities, but in our community, the Black community, people tend to say, "Oh, he's crazy, she's crazy." Nobody wants that label. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And then you have that fear inside of judgment and things like that, or shame. You feel like, oh, why am I like this? And you don't know which way to go with it because you don't want that judgment at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with that, especially the word crazy. Like, I wish they would really stop using that word because that's what makes people say, "Oh, I'm not crazy." That's the first thing you say, but it's not that. It's just like it's sometimes you can't avoid the disturbance. Like I was saying about PTSD, like they leave these marks on us, but we don't realize it until later. We don't
Right.
recognize them. So I think that for the same reason that people it still remains a difficult conversation, especially in the Black community, because I was raised on some that's some white people shit. That's
Right.
not us. We not crazy. But honestly, the state of America for a Black person, I can't see why we won't be traumatized in some way because we get marginalized, we get redlined against. We can still move in these wonderful places, but there's an actual map that's redlined that we can't live there. We can't bank there. We can't open a business there. That alone, can cause some trauma. You mean to tell me that I work all my life and I can't pick a place to live? It's just like little subtle
Right.
things that can disturb us. And I know as I get older, and this premenopause is kicking in. Listen, you know, I know that mental health is something that needs to be talked about, especially when it comes to women experience and like anybody that's the 80s babies, honey, you are going through premenopause right
Right
about now,
now,
and
real
you
time.
real time 70s and 80s babies, because listen, we not wild, it's our hormones. As we get older, our hormones change, and that inflection of hormones kind of messes with our brain. We get brain fog, we get a case of the CRS, can't remember something, and it's real, it's not our fault. Some of it is just hormonal imbalances. So the other question I have for you is, many people have experienced trauma without realizing it. What are some signs that unresolved trauma might be affecting someone's life?
It could have come from abuse, sexually, physically, emotionally, some form of neglect.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even living with somebody who has like a substance abuse issue.
And that's interesting because a lot of the, like, when I've been doing some research or some work with people who are homeless and addicted to drugs, they first had a mental health issue. You know, so a lot of you like really get to the root of why people are abusing drugs. It started with mental health. As a matter of fact, I believe DSM just recently made it, not that many years ago, made it that drug addiction is a mental health concern now. It never used to be. When we was growing up, people was addicted to drugs. It was just, oh, they addicted to drugs, but now it's classified as mental health.
Right.
So it's obviously something that happened to this person. I want to say, what does for me, looking at someone who probably, or some a situation that probably was affected by mental health that was unresolved, is people snapping at you. Like, say if you you go to a grocery store, you go to your appointment, and the person on the other end, you say, hey, how you doing? They might or
Right.
you know or it's like you can't talk to them. It's like, oh, what happened? Like, so then you obviously know that there's some underlying mental health
Right.
issue there, because
Right.
what's wrong,
Mhm.
but
Like
because of the stigma.
I
I'm
didn't do
listening.
anything to you. All I did was greet you. And you're angry or upset, or maybe you're going through something, or maybe it's a mental health thing going on. I don't know this. I'm just trying to be my normal, pleasant self and greet you, And then it's,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then yes, exactly, it's just like, wow. And then also I want to say, some people that are usually hyper, or like me, that are usually talkative, all of a sudden you go to around them and they kind of like
quiet.
withdrawn, they quiet, they like, oh, what's wrong? So that's also another sign. But it's like a thin line, because you want to say, hey, what's up with you? What's wrong? But then it's like, mind your business. Why you always in my business? So it's like, how do I approach some people sometimes that I know that is off? I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I just let people alone. I'd say a prayer, keep it moving, because
Yeah.
I don't want to trigger my mental health, because two people, be the blind leading the blind. And we both,
Right. It can be
so,
triggering because
yeah, it
I
could be.
myself have been triggered, by people. But sometimes I have to remind myself in that moment, like, wait a minute, they going through something. Don't kind of fall into that because it's going to become something big that it really don't have to be.
Mm,
Because they may be digging into my trauma. You know what I mean? And I don't realize it. And now we have this quarrel going on. But when one person got to be like, let me go that way. You have a nice day.
that's right. That's right. Somebody got to bow out.
Right.
It's usually me too, believe it or not. But then sometimes I'm like, listen, but it's true. Those are all signs of like how someone might have unresolved trauma that might be affecting their lives. And whew. So we might be having people join us on this podcast a little later, but we'll see what happens. We're expecting Victorious Venus, and also um, the gentleman from the chairman of the board who said he would like to join. But until then, I want to bring this next talking point for us is, what was the turning point that made you take your own mental health and emotional well-being more seriously?
Okay, so for me, it's two different things. So the first I'm trying to think, do I want to share this? Okay, so I will. I will share it because you never know, who this may help.
That's
So the
awesome.
first occurrence, I had to be about 15 or 16 years old. And I had went through a transition where I went from a loving household from the age of maybe born to 10, where it was just pure love, nothing but love. And then I went into a to living with someone else, I won't say who,
Hmm.
to where there wasn't no love, there was no hugs, there was no I love you, to moving into my mother, who we talked about previously, who
Hmm.
had the substance abuse issue, and being in that environment kind of made me depressed.
Mm.
But I didn't know I was depressed. But my mother knew something was wrong, so she gathered two of my family members, and we went to the hospital. And they thinking, "Oh, I'm pregnant." I don't even know what's going on with me. But it was those changes, those I kept having to change. I'm a growing child, so we're learning along the way, and all those different changes kind of made my mind go left. So I wouldn't say I was hearing voices, but I was doing things that let me know that something was wrong. Like I would get up in the morning, get dressed. I knew I had to go to school. I would get on the train, get on the bus, go to my school was at the last bus stop. I would get off the bus, cross the street, get back on the very same bus because that was the last stop. You know how they sit there maybe 15
Yes.
minutes. So I would get back on the very same bus and go home. And the days that I did make it to school, you go to homeroom and they call the names, make sure everybody's here. They would be calling Tiffany Smith, but I would hear Tiffany Simmons or Tiffany something else. So I would be sitting there. At the end, they would say, "Well, is Tiffany Smith here?" Whatever. And I would be sitting there. And then I would raise my hand and say, "You didn't call my name." And they said, "What's your name?" "Tiffany Smith." The whole class would laugh. And that would be the end of my day for school because I knew something was wrong.
Mm.
So I would leave school. So my mind just going through all those different changes, I guess kind of slipped. I would call it slipped,
Mm.
and I was depressed. And one thing I will say is when somebody's depressed, they don't know they're depressed. So that's why
Mm.
when I hear people say, "Oh, I'm depressed," and they may just be stressed out in the moment or something, I correct it every time, because most people when they're depressed, they don't know it. And I didn't know
Mm.
it. But that was that thong that went off in my head like, and I remember telling God, I don't know how many days it went on, but I remember telling God, if I have to go through this one more day, I'm going to kill myself.
Mm.
And I want to say the next day or two, I was okay. I was okay.
I don't
So that
think
was
so.
one of those. That was one of those times, and the other time would be, like when my son, transitioned. Yeah,
Yeah. Then and the sun transition, that's totally understandable. You can't tell anybody how to grieve or anything like that. But mine's kind of started around 14 as well, Epiphany. Like I remember in junior high school, I was in the hallway. I took like daggone there a whole bottle of Advil. I don't know what I thought that was going to do, but I just ironically enough, I ended up with a major headache. So
wow, that's
that's so
something.
much Advil. My stomach was upset. But I remember like sitting on the floor. I will never forget Mr. Bostic. Shout out to Mr. Bostic, my social studies student in seventh grade at IS 211. I don't know if he's still alive or not, but if you are, God bless you. You came out and you talked to me, and you told me everything would be all right. So that was my early mental health, but I didn't know that it was mental health. I just thought that I was sad. I didn't like my life. I didn't like anybody around me or anything like that. But when I got older and realized it was time to get help for my mental health, was when I was talking to one of social workers when my son went to school and was like, my mom, she was yelling at me and she hit me on my arm. And the teacher, the guidance counselor was like, excuse me, that's called corporal punishment. I'm like, corporal punishment? What? For hitting him on his arm. So it was started right there. So then I started to begin to realize that this young child of mine who's like 6 or 7 at the time, I was getting upset and angry with him and my other children for no apparent reason. Like I would just be like yelling, just ah. So when I would look at them and they'd be looking at me and they like, okay.
You're
So they
like, what
started to,
happened?
yes. So I started to take it more seriously when I realized that my children who didn't do anything were getting yelled at. They were at they like I was taking out my frustrations when they would ask me simple questions. So I started to get help. I started to get counseling for myself and counseling for them. And also another reason how I knew is I would always be in these domestic violence relationships, Epiphany. I always ended up with somebody who was tearing me up or talking down to me or being financial. I was like, it got to be a better way. When I used to, see other people who were around in relationships, they were laughing and everything like that. They were healthy. And I'm like, okay, so it's something different. So I eventually started to get help at a young age for my children and for myself, putting them into therapeutic services and receiving all types of help. So I believe I started to take mine seriously when I realized that my children, they were innocent. They didn't do anything. So Sparkle, it's you. Get it together. But it was kind of tough because I grew up with the stigma that was some white people. So what would I doing in therapy? But when I had my first therapist and she was not white or not black, I believe she was from Bolivia. She was from another country that let me know that it was okay. She was talking to me about it and how it could help. And then I started seeing changes in my children and within myself. So I started going. And ever since then, I've been going. I'm not receiving any therapeutic services right now for the past 6 months. But right now I use this platform, and I also have friends that actually help me. I have a sister circle, including this like Cipher. So I use social media, believe it or not, to help me. There's so many wonderful things up there. Dr. Tracy Marks on YouTube, a sister who breaks down all of these things for you. Because what I realized when I was going to therapy, that these white women cannot help me. No offense, white women. I love y'all. I got some friends that's crooked, but they cannot talk to my
They
lived
can't relate.
experience. They cannot
Right.
relate. I needed
Right. You're
somebody who was a black woman who can understand. So this black woman, Dr. Tracy Marks on YouTube, she breaks down everything and make it so simple, and I could listen to her. For some reason, after a while, when I was still feeling ill after going to these years of therapeutic services, they just couldn't. I felt more like something was up because where is it gonna end? So to have a better understanding, like executive function, what does that mean? Executive function means that your day to day just is getting up and just doing something that's going to work or going to school or taking care of your business. Those things were, at a standstill because of the trauma. So
right.
all of that stuff like that. Good day, ladies. Good day. Just random thoughts. Thanks for watching. She left.
I want to say something in relation to what you said, about the children experiencing, you know, parents or adult mental health issues because they're looking up to us. They're looking to us for guidance and stuff, but they don't understand that, we went through something growing up to become the person that we are today. And sometimes we don't realize that we're doing these things that may later affect them or in the moment, it has a great effect on them. But I want to publicly apologize to my daughter because she got a lot of the flack of me having post traumatic stress disorder from losing my son. Like he died in front of me. And then it was like, I didn't want it to happen again. So, some instances I would kind of be like, I don't want that to happen to me again. So, it's a lot,
Mm.
yeah, but I want to apologize to her because in a day like today, she mentions, "Oh, why did you do this? Or why did you do that? Or why
Aw.
are you acting like that?" So this is my public apology to her.
Oh,
You
that is so sweet. I want to publicly apologize to my children too. Thank you. I'm following your lead because that means a lot. Because we're the mother, they listen to everything we say, but did they ever hear us say, I apologize? So I want to also publicly apologize to my children as well. Hold on, here's Victorious.
And since we're feeling apologetic, I want to apologize for being late, ladies. I missed the bus, fell off track, but I'm here with you. I am. And I apologize to everybody who's paying attention too, because I know you're looking forward to my feedback too. So I am here
Yes.
and ready to participate in the conversation. And I
Welcome.
apologize to my children in private because I can imagine there was a whole checklist of things that I was trying to get them to bring up that they just would not. But I figured in a private setting it was possible for them to do that so that way I can make sure that I knew exactly how many different ways I should be apologizing. So
Mm.
so
And I
yeah.
want to also, while we're on it, I want to also apologize to anybody that I talk to and curse y'all out from A to Z because I was going through something and I didn't realize it. So if you're watching, I apologize to you, whoever it is, because I know I probably cursed you out at least once. So I apologize, and I didn't mean it because I didn't know. Now that I know, um, send in hype vibes from at Hype 100 Radio. There you go, Venus, right on time. So
Yes, ma'am.
Victorious,
I,
we did have a icebreaker and we had a couple of questions. The icebreaker, we want to start off with that. You remember if your mental state would be described as one animal, what would it be and why?
well, I'm glad that you asked this because I probably wouldn't have looked to pay attention had you not. But I do have a well prepared answer for this question. Um, now, when I was looking, you know, at I had my own ideas, on what I wanted my spirit animal to be, and my intuition led me to that which my knee jerk reaction would have been like, skip it, that's not me, So, so I was like, this is definitely my intuition that led me to this. So I didn't pay attention to any other ones because the name itself had me thinking like opposing thoughts. It had me thinking like about duality, which is like really where I'm at in this season in my life, as I currently go through some of the most magnificent changes in my adult life. And the animal that I feel is my spirit animal right now is the turkey vulture. See, the discernment is the turkey vulture's nature, and it's known for making bold choices, and it can smell in the air, unlike most birds. So it has a certain discernment that's not available to all fowl. The turkey vulture guides you to ride the warmth of your own life and allow you to benefit from life's efforts on you and you. It also says to, let the current carry you and be patient for where you need to arrive. And then look at me here after having missed the bus and taking a 4.5 mile walk. I'm here. I've arrived. And, I feel like my spirit animal really, led me to the right place at the right time. And I'm just glad to be here with y'all. I hope that's a
Wow,
satisfactory response.
absolutely. So you have to walk 4 miles?
4.3. Yep, I did that.
Wow. You go, girl.
I missed the bus. I missed the bus by
Yeah.
2 minutes. It is what it is, but it becomes what we make it.
That's okay. That's fine. And I'm happy you're here. You're here with us. Glad you could make it. Um, I want to introduce you to our co-host today, Epiphany, Victorious Epiphany. Our viewership is rising. Thank you, everyone, for joining. This is a really important conversation. I'm taking the time out to share our other platforms while I'm here. Um, okay, there we go, Zeke. There we go. I'm gonna welcome Zeke here with us too. Welcome. Here we go. Full
The
house.
chairman of the board is joining the discussion on the SisStar Cipher today.
Yes. I want everybody to just take a moment to meet everyone. So, while you're here, Zeke, I want you to answer this question that I have as an icebreaker to just kind of like get us flowing. Epiphany and I were already flowing, but I just want you to answer the question. If your mental state was an animal right now, what animal would it be and why?
Right
If your mental
now,
state, yes,
right
currently.
now, ugh. Well, I'm already a wolf in sheep's clothing, but uh, I don't, I can't, I don't know how to answer that. Yeah. What animal?
Yeah, you just did a wolf in sheep clothing. That's your
Yeah,
answer.
people think I'm weak. And here's why people think I'm weak because of my patience span. If you run past my patience, you're gonna see the wolf because I give people chances like, please go away. Like, I'll walk away. I know how to avoid confrontation. But if you got to put me in a corner where I have no choice but I gotta wall out to show you I'm serious, that's why.
Hmm. That's interesting. That's very interesting. What's also interesting is a turkey vulture.
And people push you to that limit where they want to see Like, I got a beast in the basement. I don't want to bring him out. It could cost me everything I've built. It could cost me my livelihood. It could cost me everything that I've built that could turn into a prison sentence. Because you wanna push me to the limit. I don't want to show you why. Like, come on. And people do push you to that limit.
They really do. I want to ask Venus and then you, Zeke, and then we're gonna go to the question that Epiphany and I left off at. The question was because this conversation about mental health is still taboo. I really don't understand why it is, being that 1 in 7 reported are suffering from mental health. Can you imagine the people who didn't go to the doctor to even know that there's something mental health? Because trust me, I know it's more than 1 in 7 just by looking out. Right? So my question is, why do you think, let me get the question first. Um, Bear with me, y'all. I'm coming. I'm over here doing so many other things, trying to share this so other people could watch. So far, the viewership is going on. Thank y'all for watching. So we answered the ice question. I mean the icebreaker. So June is also PTSD Awareness Month, and we talked about that. So it seems like there's a stigma over it. I'm trying to get to the question. It's not cooperating. The first question that I had here. Hmm. Do you remember the first question, Epiphany?
The very first question,
Yes.
I can look at it. Let me see.
I'm going to send it to you in a text so that way you have it immediately.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Oh no, that's the outro. My goodness.
It's okay. I
Here
got
we
you.
go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Mental health affects everyone, but many people still avoid talking about it. Why do you think mental health remains such a difficult conversation? That's what I want to ask you to, and then we're going to go to where Epiphany and I left off. Why do
Well,
you think people remain such a difficult conversation?
Well, I'm sure that others have their reasons, but I can speak from my perspective when applying my reason because I know that perspective is both a unique and an individual experience simultaneously occurring. So, I, even in ordinary mental health, I have extraordinary mental health as it happens, and I like feel like it was a difficult conversation for me because like for a large portion of my life there were a variety of reasons for me to cover my mental health with because of my pride or the shame for the sake of impression management, which was a maladaptive coping mechanism that I found useful for covering up my fear for re-experiencing traumas that I've previously survived. And then, like when life has shown me that this is, a battlefield, then going into a battlefield, I have, a mindset where I'm trying to understand war, and it's a natural response for me to be prepared to not be able to trust someone at some point. So I spent all of my life fighting fears. So I'm guarded, and I'm guarded from experience with various forms of traumatically impactful events that have occurred on my timeline. And uh, like access to my vulnerability isn't something that I just like offer up too easily because I'm guarded. And I have had experience with individuals who lack the capacity to keep confidence. So I don't want to tell one person and have the whole world know. And then there's the overstepping of boundaries. You give them an inch and they take a whole damn mile. There's that. And I'm inclined toward damage control. So for that reason, I don't talk to just everyone about my mental health. However, I am glad to be in a consistent relationship with a mental health professional these days, because some people don't necessarily always know what they're talking when they talk to me, and they still have been positioned to influence my perspective or my behaviors, and that's why I'm glad for one, but I was reluctant because of my trust issues due to my past traumas. Was a short,
Mm.
skinny version for anybody who thinks I use too many words. Yeah, but when I
So
hear my
the,
own voice say
Oh,
things,
sorry.
it makes more sense to me, and then I can make better decisions. So yeah, that's my thing. How about you, Zeke? You got an answer for this question?
woo! This question opens doors to different avenues. And believe it or not, you went down every avenue just about. Exactly. And I feel the same way. That's why I'm agreeing with you in the stuff that you're saying. Like, come on. I don't have a circle of friends. I got a triangle. I can't tell everybody my deep business because I know Venus. So I can tell Venus my deep business and I know it's not going to get back to me. So it's about trust issues. Number two, we got to also take into effect that I'm not saying my issues are worse than anybody else's. People got it worse than me. I'm blessed. However, me as a man, I don't have, some people don't have support networks. They don't have a support system that they can tell their trauma to. Because, like Venus said, people will run their mouths. Now, you got to also look at there's not many mental health resources for, I'm saying there's not much resources. Yeah, you could go down to Chubbs or Mental Connections. They'll listen to it. They get paid to do that. That's their job. They write things on a pen so they can remember because they see over 100 people. They're not going to remember me. And then they'll go home, eat a steak, and forget. They don't even care. And then you got to also understand that they open the door, give them medication. Maybe that would help. Now look what they just did. They brought the pharmaceutical company involved. They're making money. So they want to sequester it with a pill. Like, come on. There's not many people that want to sit and take the time to listen to someone's trauma out of the kindness of their heart. And some people feel they don't have a safe space to speak to somebody about that. Not many people have that. And that's what I stand up for. I stand up for the weak. I stand up for people that can't speak to nobody because they're scared to do it because they're afraid that if they show their vulnerability, somebody will take advantage of them. And that's why I agree with what Venus said because they will literally, you give them an inch, you give them not even an inch, you give them a small marker, they'll see, oh, I got a way in, I got access. Now I'm going to run the table. And that's what happens is that you don't have, some people have nobody to go to. Like a man can't even cry. Some men can't even be emotional in front of people. As a man, I was taught you're not allowed to cry. You cry in private. The only time you're allowed to cry is if you in church. Other than that, that crying stuff, man up. So there's no safe space. And that's the major issue. So Venus, you are right. You touched on a lot of issues. You're right. I don't tell everybody my deep business because of trauma, because of this. I even trust Sparkle. I told her some stuff and it didn't get back to me. So, like, I trust very few.
So I wanted to thank you for that. You just gave me some chills about the men And let me just say, it's also Men's Health Month for the month of June. And I'm happy that you're here, Zeke, representing the men.
What do
Not
you pick
all.
a holiday every month? You find a holiday? My goodness, woman. That sounds like that's a full-time job. You find a holiday.
Everybody,
Oh,
I was
welcome,
telling Epiphany
welcome.
that.
It's Men's Mental Health Month. It's Women's Mental Health Month. Yo, it's the first person that invented the Bible month. Like, where do you find these? Come on.
I was just telling Epiphany that
My
because
goodness, she's finding holidays on every day.
stop,
Today's
you play too much.
Regulate Wednesday. Come on.
Because Epiphany actually picked this topic for us today. And I was telling her,
Thanks
I
a lot,
said, I
Tiffany.
went in, I said, I went in, you making me laugh. I said, I went in there, I said, you know what? It just so happened to be post-traumatic stress disorder. Honestly, it's one of the labels they put on me, along with bipolar 1 and ADHD, right?
Mm.
So I'm like, listen, I got PTSD, so they say. So why not talk about it? So I went in,
Yeah,
and you're
so do
right. I
I.
look happy Juneteenth and happy Pride. There's other stuff going on too. But yeah, you're right. I do kind of look at for the month to calculate how this is gonna flow. But all jokes to the side, I really hope that this is a safe space for you, Zeke, the chairman of the board. I'm happy that you're here, and I'm happy that you're here to represent from a men's perspective. Epiphany, before I move forward, I just wanted to know, did you have any feedback or anything you wanted to add from what you heard from the other two, Zeke and Victorious?
I feel exactly the same way. And I do have a circle of friends, but I don't share with them because of some of the things they share with me about other people. So I really don't have a safe space outside of my husband. Like I don't have that other person I can go to and, have those conversations with, which is unfortunate because I do have a large circle and it's just the comfortability, it's just not there.
It's true because if they telling you somebody else's business, what you think you're going? My mother used to say, if someone who brings a bone carry a bone. Meaning that if you bringing me somebody else's business, I ain't asked you nothing about their business. You just bringing it to me. Then what are you saying about mine? So yeah, it's kind of tough. So I really do hope that people who are listening, I hope that this is a safe space for you that you can listen and learn and
That's a good
get
insight,
something
Epiphany.
um flowing. So the next question, y'all. So far so good.
I'm
Um,
sorry. Can I interrupt real quick and just ask you to
sure.
give us a quick recap of what it is that you responded? Because I saw that you asked Epiphany, and I feel left out because I missed your portion.
Here we go.
I missed it too.
We missed your portion.
He
Stop
does
holding
this
in.
all the time. Y'all funny. So wait, what was the question? Let me go back to the. Oh, I answered that. But y'all was late now. Me and
Right,
Epiphany.
we were,
Epiphany,
and
didn't
that's
I
why
answer
I asked
that?
for a recap.
Didn't I answer that, Epiphany?
I told you I was gonna be late. Don't sit here and act like
I
this is
I
real.
also sent
Sparkle,
informational.
Yes.
Sparkle, they late and want to get paid. They
Yeah,
pay to work late.
we gave you notice.
Y'all too much.
I gave you bullet points. I just asked for a quick summary recap type deal.
Oh, okay. So I forgot. Wait, what was the? I
Why don't
said
we
that
talk
it's the
about mental health?
stigma. I said it was a stigma and it's white people stuff. Like I was told that it's white people stuff to get counseling, and so I think it's a challenging conversation because a lot of people are in denial. First of all, a lot
No.
of us are walking around here in denial. And
Mhm.
when you said, Zeke, that people have it worse, people say that to me, and I'll be wanting to punch them in the face. You know why? Because not punch them in the face. That's a little thing, but I'll be wanting to pinch them because I cannot relate to nobody's else mental. What's in my mind is in my mind. I can be empathetic if someone tell me what they're going through, but I'm struggling with the voices in my own head. So when somebody says somebody else got it worse, I can't figure out nobody else worse than me because I'm dealing with my own mind. You know what I mean? So if my mind is overwhelming and somebody have it worse, well, show it to me because I don't like what's going on in my brain. To me, is worse. I just can't. Like I can empathize and relate to certain things people say, but when people say have it worse, I really don't like when people tell me that because guess what? I'm battling with my own mind.
Hmm.
You know. So
Can I respond to that?
please.
Okay. And yeah, you need to also understand, yes, some people might have it, their trauma could have been far worse than what you went through. That means that's basically me saying, yo, somebody got it worse than me. Means I should be grateful. I'm not where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's say I should be grateful. Yes, I had PTSD. But this person don't have no one to talk to about their post-traumatic stress disorder. They don't have a safe space. I do. I should be grateful that I'm where I am. Meanwhile, John Doe, he's still stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody cares about him. And nobody cares about Jane Doe. And she's dealing with trauma and past experiences that's probably worse than all of our traumas combined. And she's barely holding on by a thread, or he's barely holding on by a thread.
That's true. Everybody's level is
I
different. Everybody grieve
understand
different.
what you went through because I heard some of your testimony and you hanging on. If I had that applause button, I'd push it for you because you went through, you battled. Your trauma was almost worse than mine. So I'm grateful where I am.
And see,
And
the worst
you,
thing,
I admire you because you're still hanging in there. And there are
uh,
people out there that is worse and has no help, no support network, no one to talk to, not to mention drug interference and God knows what else. So, yeah, there are people that have it worse than you.
that's true. But it's about perception and perspective. So I'm telling you right now, people who's listening and watching, stop telling me people got it worse and stop telling me get over it, suck it up, and all of like that because people grieve different. You could tell somebody that they pet died and they won't eat and sleep for days, weeks. You could tell somebody their pet died, oh, well, go bury it, flush it down the toilet. So everybody has their own way of, so 'cause one thing that might that's not the word. One thing that might put somebody out of order might fuel somebody because I've learned to turn my pain into purpose, but I wasn't always there, right? Somebody told me some bad news, I would be like soaking for days, weeks, months. Still something. Like my mother passed away 2014. Mother's Day come around, I'm not good. Her birthday about to come up, I'm not good, right? But some
Mhm.
people mother died, they're like, oh, she's in a better place to be absent with the Lord and present with the Lord. I mean, absent with the everybody has their own level. And then another thing I wish, because I love God, and God knows I love God, but telling people God got you and God gonna get you through is also annoying for me. Or full disclosure, I have my own personal relationship. I'm not dissing God, but sometimes when your mental health is somewhere, the last thing you want to hear is that. You know what I mean? So I feel like people that's mentioning God, just show up as if God would show up and let me see the God in you. Don't mention God to me. Be God. Be like God to me. You know what I mean? Don't tell me to go read this scripture. Be that scripture to me, and then I'll see God like that. You know what I mean? So I'm getting a little hype. I digress.
Mm.
All right. So I'm looking for the next question because this mental health has
I,
got me
I,
going.
I'm just glad that you said that because I did get ordained as a minister, and I'll be trying to give people a simpler solution. I'm not always gentle about the way that I introduce the topic of something bigger than
Mm.
than me. you know.
Yeah, I just wish people would show up and do what the scripture is telling you to do or be of God. Don't tell a person to go read Psalms 91. Be Psalms 91 for me. You know what I mean? Be that for me. Just, like how, show and prove the God in you. And then I might be like, oh, what's going on? What got you there? Let me ask you what got you there. And then, things will be different. That's just for me personally. Some people prefer scriptures. Some people, but
Mm-mm.
just when people who are watching, because I know y'all watching,
I got a
when
different type of support network.
when you talk to
So,
me, just be God, be like
yeah,
God, and then I'll
I
I'll,
get
I'll
it.
pick up.
I hear you.
Yeah, that's just me though. I'm looking for the questions again
You
because
got
this
a different type of support network from me. Because Venus is not gentle. Venus, as my friend, is not gentle with me. If I'm telling her I'm going through something and she gets the whiff of a pity party, or I'm expecting like a shoulder to cry on, she'll give me a kick in the butt. Boy, pull yourself together, get it together, and get your behind to work. Keep working and keep grinding. She's that type of person, and that's the type of person I need. That's my support network. I'm proud with what I got.
Thank you. Epiphany, I have a question for you.
Okay.
In a world that glorifies being busy, what does healthy self care actually look like beyond bubble baths and social media quotes?
For me, it may look like a walk. Sometimes I just want to be in nature and be free. That's what it looks like for me. The walking in the grass, the hugging the tree, just out in nature for me. I don't need the bubble bath. I don't need the massage. I don't need any of those things. That's what does it for me.
I
Hmm.
like that. How about you, Victoria? Same question.
Could you reiterate the question, please?
Okay, so the question was, in a world that glorifies being busy, what does healthy self care actually look like beyond bubble baths and social media quotes?
I'm glad you asked because I done figured out that in a world that's, stuck in being busy, you have to force yourself to do the exact opposite of the circumstances. I force myself to be still in these times because it's all a challenge and a test to me. I feel like deep down, we have to challenge ourselves. We have to learn better techniques than we had before. So I challenge my knowledge to become a better version of myself. And in order to do that, I can't do what I was doing yesterday. Yesterday, I was whining about all this stuff that I can't take back. I have no time machine. I asked my son to build one. He still hasn't. I'm not sure if he's lazy or if he really doesn't have this doohickey that he says he needs in order to build it, but he never did complete it. So I still can't turn back time. I have to keep my eye on the prize. It is what it is, but it becomes what we make it. So it's about my mindset and me prioritizing myself over the busyness for those moments. Like me taking that shower. I mean, I could have came and looked at y'all all sweaty and stuff, but I feel better about this discussion because I'm not smelling myself. So I mean, I think the little things, they really matter. The things that we don't do for ourselves is an instance of us maybe considering taking ourselves for granted. I'm trying to train myself to do the opposite of that in a world that's so busy. I'm trying to appreciate myself and treat myself the way that I treat other people that I appreciate, or at least a closer version than as close as I can get. I'm working on it. It's a process though.
Thank you. Zeke, in a world that glorifies being busy, what does healthy self care look like beyond bubble baths and social media quotes?
Uh, I focus on work. I'm a workaholic. So, me being busy, I have to stay moving and being busy. But for me, it's the alone time. I'm sitting down watching TV or even occasionally playing my video games. I'm still a kid at heart. But I also focus on other stuff that are important, even while I'm at work. I focus on helping others that are homeless, trying to find them places to live. I focus on things that really, other than myself, helping others. That I do my best to help others.
Mhm.
But yeah,
And
and
I
then
want to, I'm
also being
listening.
outside helps. Just going for a walk, like Epiphany said.
And for myself, I want to say that self care beyond bubbles, paths, and social media quotes. Although I love them both, especially the social media, I actually use social media for my mental health. Believe it or not, so many
Yeah.
wonderful people doing some wonderful things on there. It's not all negative, right?
Yeah. My
But for
podcast is
me,
a mental outlet. It's
yes.
therapeutic for me, actually.
What is?
Doing my podcast on Sunday, that is therapeutic for me. It is very therapeutic where I get to speak my mind. That's what the name of my podcast, Speaking My Mind, with the chairman of the board. But
Hmm.
it's not just me, it's my entire board. They come on and speak their minds. And that's therapeutic for me. We have a lot of fun. So
So for me, healthy self care looks like audiobooks. And currently, I'm reading or listening to, well, reading and listening to The Body Keeps Score, the effect on trauma on the body, and also healing frequencies. I go to YouTube or whatever I have and put in healing frequencies because healing frequencies actually go into your cells and repair the DNA. So, I work on repairing my DNA cells by listening to healing frequencies. 2 megahertz, 5 4. I forgot the numbers of the megahertz, but if you just type in healing frequencies, some of them are for undue trauma. Some of them are for, like, even when I had blood clots, there was actually healing frequency for blood clots, and I used that for about 3 months. So I really, really pour into healing frequencies as a self care method. So the next question, because I want us to flow right along, is why do so many men and women carry the weight of everyone else's mental health while ignoring their own? For me, I'm going to start and answer the question and say it's because I care a lot. Although I can't relate to somebody else's mental, what's on their mind, but because I care so much, I have children, I have a partner. I always want to see what's going on in their world because I don't want them to feel like me. I don't want them to feel like how I felt when I'm struggling with mental health. So I kind of do these things for them. I put on healing frequencies around them. They don't even know it's on half of the time. So I fix some foods where I put in herbs and spices that I know helps them and stabilizes them, their blood cells and everything like that. So I feel like they get ignored sometimes because I'm so busy on focusing on how everyone around me mental health is stable. Because I know a lot about mental health and I've been reading about it. And a lot of our people don't know the things that they can do because they're in denial. So I ignore my mental health to help others because a lot of my people are in denial. So I go the extra mile for my people. Um, Epiphany,
Give me
same
one
question.
second. Can you go to the next person? Give me 1 second.
Oh, okay, sure,
Okay.
absolutely. I'm gonna go to you, Victorious.
That's fine because I found that this here particular question was something that I had to do years and years and years and years of experience before I understood the true answer to this. For me, in my personal experience, I was using the helping other people as a distraction. And you know what? I'm going to have to give Princess B some credit on this one because she told me repeatedly, I understand that you say you're doing it for them, but you're really doing it for you because you're healing you as you're trying to help them heal them. So it's a convenient, reasonable distraction from me failing to practice my own self-care. That is why I was carrying so much of the weight of the world. Now I'm working on finding more ways to get the point out one time so that I can stop repeating the efforts so that way I can spend more time focusing on the things that I have to do moving forward.
yeah,
Okay, Zeke.
I agree with Venus. However, I also learned while I was doing that, helping others and trying to helping others, I was also neglecting my mental health. So, and then I almost got burnt out. Like I was in a relationship where I was trying to protect her mental health and neglected mine, and I got burnt out. So I learned to help. I will still help people as much as I can. But at the end of the day, I got to also think about myself.
Well,
Wow.
it's the same here for me, with everything that everyone said. It's the same exact thing. I'm not going to repeat it because pretty much we all said the same thing, in sort of a different way, you know.
Yes. Yes, it's pretty much the same. So, and then some days I feel bad about it. Um, like not putting myself first, but like to Venus's point, when I'm helping them, is helping also helping myself because I still have to be around my loved ones. And I can't say I extend it for everyone, but I can say I extend it for my children and my partner because these are the main people that are around me all the time, right? So, and then I feel like I'm doing it a little bit here. We're talking, we're here, and I feel better doing it here than doing it one on one because it's time consuming. It seems like it's not enough time in the day, honestly, to try to help everyone, right? So,
Mhm.
to come on a platform like this or to say it out loud is like mass, a way to do it, to everyone at once. So the next question I have is, what role do faith, spirituality, prayer, or community support play in the healing process? So for me, going back to God, God it does it for me. My spirit does it for me. How I feel does it for me. Community, a little bit because sometimes community is unbalanced depending on what's going on in the world. For example, when the president comes on, people are actually screaming at the TV, screaming at this man. They're like really upset at what's going on, like, "Ah," like he's lying, liar, and I'm like, oh, MG, like, good thing I don't watch the news because I don't got time for that. You know what I'm saying? But I do know what's going on by how other people, because I'm a feeler, right? I might not know, but I can feel it. So if somebody come around me, they might not be feeling well, I can feel it. So now I have a choice whether or not do I want to respond to that community. Sometimes I do, depending on if they're open, if they're not in denial. Because at the end of the day, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? They have to be ready to receive what you're saying in order to help them. But spirituality for me does it because I can meditate, I can pray, I can fast, and almost immediately I'm okay. So it plays an important role to me, especially scriptures. If I'm feeling some type of way, I say a prayer before I open that Bible, and I'm like, boom! It smacked the holy, it smacks me right across the face with the scripture. So it plays a very important role, and I encourage people to do what works for them in the spirit. You know. All
Yeah.
right. So you want to say something to that question, Z?
No, I agree
Okay.
with what you said. I
What
just
role does
don't.
faith,
I
spirituality,
just
prayer, or community play in
yeah.
supporting the healing process?
I go to the people I can rely on in the community, and not the whole community as a whole. I go to people. Some people I go like to the elders that I know I trust and believe their guidance and wisdom ain't gonna lead me astray. An elder is somebody who's seasoned, experienced enough to give you wisdom and guidance from a safe space. Um, which brings me to shout out to Sister Tioka Muhammad. I come to her for, yes, she's in New York City celebrating the Knicks won the NBA championship. And she's in New York City taking in the sights. Special
Mm,
shout out to Sister Tioka Muhammad and her husband Courtney Muhammad.
absolutely.
Um, but it's like I go to people in the community that I trust with my information or whatever situation I'm going to. When it comes to church, yes, of course, I believe, of course, God's got me. Um, but I got to be careful who I speak to, even in church. Snakes are everywhere. It's not, they in church too. Some of the biggest backstabbers are in church,
Well,
Every
smiling in your face with the knife ready to put it in your back. And that's the same knife I used to cut you off with.
oh,
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, I sometimes I gotta go to God in prayer in private. That's my take on it.
Epiphany, you ready for me?
Yeah, I would just say it gives you a sense of hope, purpose. It's a support system. Yeah, that's about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Do you go to church?
I used to go to church until one day I came to the realization that it seems more about the money than about God. Well, the church
Woo!
I was going to, it started to feel more about money than about God. So I kind of just backed off. I just stopped going.
Mm.
That's interesting because my mom, when she was alive, she was going to a well-known mega church, and she said when they built their new one, she saw an ATM in the lobby. She ain't go back. She ain't go back. That's interesting.
I don't blame her. I
Victorious.
don't blame her.
Yes. Victorious.
I
What role
agree with
does
the
faith? Okay.
I agree with the support concept. Like I need my community of individuals that I do trust to fulfill their portion of my needs to my body. Like I get a certain gift in your smile as opposed to the one that I'm used to getting from Zeke. I'm going to learn a new thing that I get from Epiphany's smile. Each and every person sows into me a different thing. I'm attracted to their energy because a piece of it helps to make me more whole, or at least to feel more whole in that moment. So I feel like it's all about support, because the taller I stand, it is likely happening because of the supports I found along the way that were willing to hold me up when I couldn't hold myself.
Mm.
Wow.
Woo!
Okay, so we're coming to a close. Only got a couple more questions left, and then I do want to go to the Facebook post that I created that people actually answered. But the question that I have for you, I'm gonna start with you, Venus. I'm gonna work my way backwards. Is what does healing mean to you, and what gives you hope even during difficult seasons?
That is an excellent question. And I spent a lot of time thinking about what healing looks like to me, because uh, it didn't seem like something I was ever going to see when I was in my despair. So I can say that looking back, I've done a lot of healing, so I can identify it better now. But to me, like, healing is a process, and it's like it is what it is, but it becomes what you make it. So it starts with the acknowledgement that, in order to fix it, you need to know what it is. So it's like something isn't working properly, and in order for you to make it work proper, you got to identify where the fracture in the system is. Now, I'd been traumatized a whole bunch of times. So we'll just use my heart as an example. I had fractures, a whole bunch of them. My heart was like practically shattered, but it wasn't completely broken. It's still together. It's just got all these little cracks in it. So I'm looking at the process of learning, introspection, value, and evolution now. So I'm going back where those fractures were made, and I'm seeing what I can't do to putty them back so that they're stronger for the whole. But I can't just like put all the pressure on one. I have to work on it one crack at a time, one fracture at a time, one habit at a time, one maladaptive coping mechanism at a time. So it's going to be a process, and it's going to be a progressive process. And by the time all the cracks are whole, all the cracks are filled, and I can see my big, beautiful heart the way that it was meant to be, I'll probably die. But the point is, I have faith to get as many of those cracks filled as possible so that I can be as closest to the best version of myself as possible when it's time.
Okay. Um, Epiphany.
Um, Let me just say something first. I feel like Venus kind of like speaks from the same place that I'm speaking from, or like it's like when she speaks, I'm like, okay, is she in my head or what? And it's something about you, Venus, that's really like just I don't know. It's just grabbing me. Like it's something about you. I don't know what it is, but I was gonna say the same thing. It's a
He's
process.
known to do that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Venus. Okay.
Venus knows how to wiggle your way somewhere in your life and in your heart and warm up. If you're that type of person, you gravitate to her. She'll wiggle her way and see you're genuine and wiggle her way into your heart like that. She has that.
It's
Trust me. She grows
it's
on
the
it.
God in me. I'm not trying to shove God down your throat, but he did this to me. Is what it is. God made
Yeah.
me like this. And glory be, because I did, it was a lot of work to get me this far, and he's still going to take me beyond that. So I'm excited for the process.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say it's a process. First you accept it, and then you acknowledge it, and you move from there.
I like that y'all saying the process because that's one of my favorite things. It's just like people say trust this process. I say respect the process
Mm.
because whether you want it or not, whether you trust it or not, the process is going to process. But to put some respect on the process, you kind of probably get a little bit of a different um a wave right there. So I'm not sure if I asked Victorious or Zeke the question, the same question, because I'm over here trying to share it.
Zeke did not get asked the question. Zeke is the one who
So
didn't tell us
Zeke,
his
Nah,
answer.
skip me.
what
I ain't
what
that
does
important.
I didn't answer the question either, Zeke.
Right.
What does healing mean to you, and what gives you hope even during difficult seasons?
Well, all right. Some things in my life, it's not that I'm healed. I'm able to put it in my rear view. Um, yeah, there's some things in my life that I went through that I've healed, gotten over, and is in my rear view. I'm not going backwards. Then there's some things where, like, yo, this needs work. I got to learn to get over this fear. I got to learn to get over this. I could do it, but it's not just, and my not a disagreement, but I'm going to add to it. It's not about, yes, you have to trust the process. First you have to respect it. Then you have to trust it. Then you have to put in the work with this process. And some people don't want to put in the work. And there are times where, and I'll speak for myself. Sometimes I procrastinate a lot. And some people procrastinate with the process that what they're going through. And then there's some people that are in denial and don't want to go into the process because they feel they don't like, please tell me y'all understand where I'm coming from. So
I
like
do.
I learned differently. So some people don't want to, they're in denial about it and admitting that they have a problem. And that's all a mask because I'll say, yo, I'm good. I'm straight. I'm Gucci. I'm fine. Deep down inside, I'm dealing with a whole lot of hurt that I need to be so like we have to, and that's where a safe space is needed. A support network is needed. There's so, but me personally, to answer your question, I don't know why I veered off to that. I'm sorry. Let me stick to the question. But yeah, there are things I'm healed from, and there's things I need to work on, and there are things that helps me to move forward. Once I put it in my rear view, I'm not going back.
Hmm. Yeah. And I want to say that a lot of times that the reason why a lot of us are in denial is because of the stigma. And it's also because that it involves hard work. It's like, you know, for me, when I got raped at the age of 14, I didn't
Mm.
understand. And I lost my virginity that way. So that really hurt my
Woo.
feelings, right? And and I couldn't for the life of me figure out, why do I have to go to counseling? Why do I have to do the hard work? He raped me. Like, it seems like the person that got traumatized got to go through the most trauma to get help. So it's hard work because these things replay in your mind when it's time to get intimate with someone. It's hard for me, all of these things because I feel like, oh, any slight uncomfortability, oh, it feels like great. It's just like, so I'm dealing with this. What's up with the other person? I'm so angry sometimes because the person, place, the thing that did the trauma don't have to go through half of the work that I'm going through. So to admit that you have a problem means that you have to do the hard work, and this work is not easy at all. It sounds good, but to do the work is hard. So I believe that's a lot of the reason why people just stay in denial. It's their denial is a safe space, but in the end, you're really hurting yourself because stress kills. Not forgiving kills. It's like a poison, to your own body. So to get out, talk about it, do something about it. So let me answer the question. What does healing mean to you,
Can
and
I
what gives you
respond to
hope?
that?
Of course.
There's a saying, and you said that question. You said that person that did that to you, which was trauma, why they're not getting help. There's something called hurt people hurt people. And if that person did that to you, someone did something to that person, and they took their pain out on you. Hurt people hurt people. It is a cycle where I broke from that because, like, yo, I was in a dark space, dark time where I was incarcerated, and somebody tried that, but they paid a severe price. And I'm a man. So, but I also inflicted pain on others to let them know how I felt. But I didn't do that. But I beat people up. I had to do what I had to do to survive. So what I'm saying to you is it's called hurt people hurt people. It's a cycle. They didn't get the healing. They didn't get the counseling. They didn't get that. So the only way they could get over that is to inflict pain on somebody else. And it's sad because you're a good soul. You didn't deserve that.
Thank you.
No one
Thank
deserves that.
you. So healing to me looks like being loud about it. Because all my life, when I was growing up, it was shut up, sit down. Children should be seen and not heard.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm all over these blogs, vodcasts, and people are like, oh, why are you telling your business? Because I need to heal out loud. I'm not being quiet anymore. So healing to me means be loud, be bold. And what gives me hope is the young people. Young people give me hope because they are fearless. I got nieces and nephews. They talk to me. My nephew was like, Auntie, you streaming? You need to go on he told me what streaming platform to get. I can't remember now. But they ain't giving me no money. But he said you need to be on this platform if you streaming. So he's telling me, he's looking at me streaming, and he's like, oh, you should be on this one. Go here. So they give me hope because they know stuff. They're not afraid, and they advocate for themselves. So even through those difficult seasons, just watching young people be young people play like before the age that I got raped, watching my children, all of that gives me hope that there's going to be a better day one of these days. It might not be today, but one of these days it's going to be there. So I got to be loud to make sure I blaze the trail, pave the way, and let them know they got a safe space to be. And if anybody is getting in your way, young people, let me know. I'll handle them. You know what I mean? So young
Mm.
people gives me hope.
And if I may add to that, that helps me to bring my greater later to light, my trash to treasure vision, my pain to purpose. That's going to be my true healing. I'm calling it Johnny Ray of Light Center of Hope for Foundlings. I'm going to open up a center to help defrag a lot of the dysfunction from the traumas that we had when we were younger, and also help lost souls who are without parents or need reparenting to evolve in this process with proper support, in a safe environment. Because I remember the darker times, and it was a little bit of light here and a little bit of light there, where cracking through the surface, I was able to see that there is healing available. Whereas before it was so dark, I couldn't even see where the cracks were to start repairing, you know? So yes, Johnny Ray of Light, Center of Hope for Foundlings. Uh, Definitely stay tuned to that. Follow the smoke and all that with the hype because it's happening. Johnny Ray of Light, Center of Hope for Foundlings. Say what is gonna do everything in us to ensure that this happens.
Say what?
And I also forgot a important component about what does healing mean to me. It also means separating myself, like from people, places, and things. Fasting, not only from food, but from people, places, and things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really have to fast. You know, that's what it means like to me too. Um, and the final question that I have for the panel today before I go to the public is if someone is struggling silently with depression, anxiety, PTSD, grief, or emotional exhaustion, what is one thing you want them to know today? Someone who's struggling, depression, anxiety, PTSD, grief, or emotional exhaustion. What is one thing that you want them to know today? Epiphany?
I would say the enemy will not steal your joy. I rebuke anything that comes against you and your mental health. And I know you said you don't like the phrase God got you, but God definitely got them.
Yes,
God is within, so definitely
that's
got you.
right. No, I don't like it personally when I'm going through something, but that don't mean that's for me personally. I want you
Okay.
all on a panel to, to say your truth. I'm gonna say my truth. I don't always feel like that, but yeah, I do feel like that. But for someone else, it works. You know what I mean? That's why I love the diversity. So yeah, God got you. Zeke,
What's the question again?
the question is for someone who's struggling right now silently with like PTSD, anxiety, depression, or emotional exhaustion. Exhaustion. What is one thing that you want them to know today?
Mm, I want you to know death and life is in the power of the tongue. So I'm going to say this. Your greatest coming. Usually, when you face oppositions, when you face currents that are fighting back against you, that means that the enemy's coming for you. That means your greater is coming. Your due season is coming. You need to get over these hurdles. Please speak to somebody that you trust, you love, you know. Um, my name is Zeke. I'm the podcast owner of Speaking My Mind with the chairman of the board. I care about people. I'm a people person. Believe it or not, as a property manager, I have to be a people person because that's all I deal with all the time. I've been to homeless shelters, in the soup kitchen, volunteering. I've done it. I've helped people find homes, get them off the street. If I can't get them in a home, I'll point them in the direction to get them help and get them in the direction. All I'm saying is speak, please. Your life ain't over. And you're speaking to a suicide survivor. So don't even go down that road with me. I put the rope around my neck and kicked the chair, but the rope snapped instead of my neck.
Mm.
So I
Look at God.
understand depression, anxiety, and all of that. But there is hope. And speak to somebody that can give you help. There are suicide hotlines. There are hotlines and people you can speak to. Please, your life is not over. You have purpose. You have purpose.
Wow, y'all getting me emotional over here. I'm scared to go to you, Victorious. Not scared, but dang. I'm so happy that you're still here, Zeke, because you make me laugh, you make me smile, you make my day, and I'm happy you're on this panel.
You
Thank you for
I
being a liver. Victorious. If someone is struggling silently with depression, anxiety, PTSD, grief, or emotional exhaustion, what is one thing you want them to know today?
Well, I had a whole lot of things that I wanted to tell them because I just want them to know everything that I ever wish somebody told me when I was dealing with the stuff that I already got past, and just like fast track them to where I'm at. But I think in the notes that I have, I would like to say that you have to have patience for yourself. You have to understand that it really is what it is, but it becomes what you make it. Feed the beast that you want to grow. And like when a plant reaches the end of its life cycle, there are remnants and nutrients from the plant that it left in the soil that once it grew, that it once grew in, and the plants that grow beyond it benefit from the nourishment that it left behind and contained in the nutrients offered the strength that was grown prior to the decay. So what killed them makes you stronger. I mean, how's that for duality? Like, yeah, that's that's I just trash to treasure. There's loss is a state of mind, and we our lessons are our blessings. And I've already learned so much. I'm looking forward to learning more. And actually, I've learned to build muscle from the pain. So I know that it sounds far off, but it sounded far off when somebody was telling me that too. So I'm saying it now. Got to do the work. It's a process. And if you want more information about how to manage like I did, you can tune into my talkcast, The Divide, on hype100radio.net, which is also heard internationally with Streama and my TuneIn. Or you could go to my website, put that right back, and .com, and then scroll down, see the hype logo, click into that. That'll bring it to that too. Because I'm going to do everything that's in me to get this Johnny Ray of Light Center of Hope for Foundlings up and running. So I'm gonna need y'all to, tune into the messages as I leave the fragments of understanding out here at this point.
You got my full support, woman.
Me too.
Appreciate it.
So, to answer the question, if someone is struggling silently, I want to leave you with, it's not your fault. It is not your fault. It's something that happened to you, right? Something that happened to you. So I'm just going to ask you to please take each moment as it comes. Be gentle with yourself. Talk to yourself with grace. Be kind to yourself. It is not your fault. You hear me? It is not your fault. It's nothing that you did. It's really not.
It's not.
You know? So be gentle with yourself. I'm not going to tell you anything else, but just talk to yourself with kindness. Even if you have to say, I'm okay 1,000 times in a row. I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. Take some deep breaths. Take each moment as it comes. And I also wanted to share this 988 is a number you can call or you can leave a text message to for anybody who's dealing with a suicidal crisis. This is the lifeline. This is a national number. So it's toll free. Even if you have a device that's not on, you can still text or call this 988 number. Okay, I just wanted to leave that there for people who is watching at home. We're going to wrap up, but before we wrap up, I want to give the people who left. I have one comment here from someone who's watching on YouTube, and I wanted to bring that up there. Thank you, Just Random Thoughts 521 for watching on YouTube. Says that is so sweet. I know they received this. I want to apologize to mine as well. We had an apologizing session, Zeke. I don't know if you were here for it. We were apologizing for the people we may have offended when we were unaware about our mental health and the effect that it have on others. So shout out to YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook. Thanks you all for watching. I want to just go to a post that I made yesterday. I asked people, and I want to ask everybody who's watching at home, what is one thing you've done to protect your peace this year, right? So we got some feedback. So I wanted to shout out Epiphany and myself for saying isolation and fasting. We were the first two. And then Sweet Pammy from Facebook says, cutting off self-centered family members.
Woo!
Self-centered family members.
Hmm.
one thing that you have done this year for your self-care. And my cousin Eric Bosula, who's from Nigeria, who's watching from Nigeria and tuning in, says praying for the countries, families, and friends, family members, fasting, reading the Word of God, working more hard this year, and working on my health. So that's what I got. If I left anybody out, please forgive me. So I just want to close us out. But before I close us out, does anybody
Oh,
on the panel have
we have
anything
to
that they
also
want to say
acknowledge
as
Hype
closing?
100 Radio is sending hype vibes to us.
Oh yes, Hype 100. Shout out to Hype 100 Radio. Epiphany, is there anything that you wanted to leave us with, close out with before we close today?
Yeah, it's just one wish that I have that, people stop doing is labeling people crazy, so it makes people not want to share, you know? The first thing, like they say, if you're bipolar or you have PTSD, whatever you may have, stop labeling people crazy. It really just, it got to stop.
Thank you. So for the month of June, I want to just put out there because, like Zeke said, do you think every month? Yes, I do. So happy Pride, happy Juneteenth. Juneteenth is actually this Friday. And
No,
June 27th is
you
PTSD
know us.
Awareness Day.
You
And
reminded me of all these holidays.
so, Zeke, guess what? This month is also Men's Health Month, focusing on both physical and mental health for men. It
Mm.
encourages conversations about depression, anxiety, stress, suicide prevention, and seeking support. Um, it's also Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. So, my grandma, who had Alzheimer's, and also my dad, Jacob, who we lost last year, he had Alzheimer's. So it's also awareness month, promotes awareness of brain health, dementia. In his case, he had Lewy body's dementia, memory disorders, and support for caregivers. So check out the Alzheimer's Association. It's also National Migraine and Headache Awareness Month. While primarily physical health focus,
Migraine.
it also addresses the mental and emotional impact of chronic pain. And other wellness themes, Zeke, for the month of June, because awareness is key: trauma recovery and resilience, self care and burnout prevention, community healing and social connection, mindfulness and stress reduction,
You're
and
gonna make me want to
suicide
throw a
prevention
pan
month,
at you when I
although
see
it's
you.
primarily done during the month of September. But prayers up for everyone. So, we're healing from trauma, resilience after loss, mental health, LGBTQ mental health, men's emotional well being, caregiver stress, and self care. We all on this panel are here in support of that. Is that true, panel?
Absolutely.
All right. I just want
I
to be
agree.
sure.
I agree. But that's
So I
too
just
many holidays, woman. Come on.
OMG, it's never too much, never too much, never too much.
Man, I
Zeke, would you
can't
let
take
me
a day
close
off
out
of
here?
work for all these holidays. If
If
that's
you
the case,
Oh
I
my
won't be
gosh.
working.
if you if you ask Google, there's not a day on the calendar that could possibly be not a holiday. There's something celebrated every day all over the world. So
Thank you.
God,
So Harmony Jones watching from Facebook. Love you, sis. I love it. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for you all.
share in harmony.
And as we come to the end of today's conversation, I want to thank our special guests today, Epiphany, Zeke, and Victorious Venus. Zeke, the chairman of the board, thank you for tuning in at last minute and representing the men today. Thank you all for sharing your experiences, your wisdom, and your perspectives with us. Mental health is not just a topic for one month. It's something that affects all of us every day, whether you're
Mm.
navigating stress, grief, anxiety, trauma, PTSD, or simply the challenges of life. We want you to know that you are not alone.
Mm.
Healing is not a destination, it's a journey. Some days we feel easier than others, but every step you take towards understanding yourself setting healthy boundaries, seeking support, and extending grace to yourself, it matters. We recognize, as we recognize PTSD Awareness Month, let us remember that trauma does not have to define us. Our experiences may shape us, but they do not determine our worth, our purpose, or our future. Before we leave, I want to ask everyone who's watching, what is one thing you can do this week to protect your peace and support your mental health? Take that as food for thought. Take a moment to reflect on that. And if you're comfortable, share it with us in the comments. Thank you for spending the time today with us. If this conversation resonated with you, be sure to like, follow, share, and subscribe to Reality Speaks TV. Help us continue creating spaces for authentic conversations and inform, inspire, and empower our communities. I am Sparkle Denise. This has been SisStar Cipher on Reality Speaks TV, where real people have real talk in real time. Until next time, be kind to yourself, extend grace to others, protect your peace, and remember your story matters, your voice matters, and your healing matters. Take care, and we'll see you again on the next SisStar Cipher.